What's up, everybody? Welcome into the next Pats podcast. We have a micro pod on deck for you this July 15th. We were taking a little bit of a hiatus from this particular podcast, but we had an opportunity to get an exclusive interview with Patriots quarterback Mac Jones, because this is sort of unofficially a Mac Jones podcast. If you go back through our episodes over the course of the last, year and a half, you might find that over half are dedicated to Mac Jones. So we had a chance to chat with him at Hood Park in Charlestown, slinging ice cream. He has the Mac Attack flavor that was out today, straight out of the ice cream truck there at Hood Park. Little blue ice cream with some chocolate chip cookie dough mixed in there. Yeah, I had some. Yeah, it was good. But that's not why you're here. You're here to listen to what he had to say. Had a chance to catch up with him for a few minutes. So without further ado, let's get to our conversation with Mac Jones. All right, here right now with Patriots quarterback Mac Jones. Mac, we are at beautiful Hood Park here in Charlestown. Why are we here? Tell us why we're here. Tell us why there's an ice cream truck behind us.
Well, the whole point is to eat a bunch of good ice cream, right? So we're out here just enjoying the weather, and there's a bunch of great fans, and we're just trying to come together as a community and enjoy, a nice day in Boston. And this is a beautiful, area, and then I'm excited to pass out the Mac Attack flavor.
There you go. So you will be handing out some Mac Attack ice cream to some Patriots fans that have been here waiting in line under the sun for a little while here. So ice cream for you is on the approved Mac Jones off-season diet, because you've gone viral as looking on social media like a guy who's traded in the ice cream for the skinless chicken breast and broccoli.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely improved my diet, but, after you work really hard, it's not bad to just sit down and eat some ice cream. So every once in a while, it's like a little cheat meal, but I got it from my dad. He eats ice cream all the time, so I always have a little bit of ice cream flavor that I want to get, and it's just all fun and games. So I'm just happy to be here. Hopefully I'll try my flavor, make sure it's up to par, and then hand it out to everybody else.
We'll have to get Ted Harper, Patriots nutritionist, on the phone, make sure everything is on the up and up there.
There you go.
But I remember talking to you during Super Bowl week, and you did talk about how you wanted to make changes to your body, and you felt like that was something that was important. Why did you feel like that was important, Mac? Because you had a year last year. You make the Pro Bowl as a rookie. You have one of the best statistical rookie seasons the NFL's seen in recent history here. So why was it important for you to make those physical changes that you made this offseason?
Yeah, I think it's important to assess everything, and that was one of the things I wanted to improve, and I made significant strides in that area, fixing my body and feeling comfortable and feeling healthier and better. But it's at the end of the day, you're still a human, and you want to eat what you want to eat, but you have to be disciplined as best you can. And Hood ice cream is one way to do it, so that's what I do for my late night dessert.
Have you seen those changes that you've made translate already? Obviously, you've done some spring practices with the team, but we've seen you working out with teammates, and you've been on top of it as far as that goes. Have you noticed changes? Are you feeling it for your arm? That was another thing we spoke about months ago. You're talking about arm strength. That's something I want to improve. Is that something that you felt so far this offseason? Yeah,
I think it all goes back into just trying to become a better player in person, and that was my goal this offseason, and I feel better, I feel confident, and that's what's important. And I'm just going to try and go in there and do my thing and lead everybody and help us come together as a unit. So that's kind of what it's all about. And the offseason is a great time to sit back, relax a little bit, but also try and make strides and where you want to make strides. So I feel like I've done that.
You're about to hand some ice cream out to some new friends here.
Yeah.
You have, though, logged some miles, my friend, based on what we've seen on social media, not to do the social media reporting thing, which is part of life, I guess, right now. But it looks like you've been all over the country to meet up with teammates and make sure that you're spending time with those friends before you head into year two. Why was that so important to you, to spend as much time as it appears you have with those guys?
Yeah, I think it's important to, be with your teammates and build that relationship and build the camaraderie for your team. So we have a great group of guys. They're all good dudes, and we're just excited to get back to work. We've put in a lot of work, and now it's time to go. So we're really excited for the season.
It's such a different spot for you now versus this time last year. Yeah. Obviously, you've grown a lot in a 12-month span here.
Yeah.
How much ownership do you feel like you have of the offense and of what you guys are doing on that side of the ball? Because, again, last year you're fighting for a job, you're competing for a job, and now you're the guy who looks like is organizing these workouts and making sure that everybody's sort of on the same page going into training camp here.
Yeah, every year is a new year, and this year's different. It's my second year, so it's a lot of other guys' second years, and some guys have been in the league for 5+ years. So everyone's in a different boat, but we're all working towards the same goal, just being great teammates for each other, and then going out there and putting the product on the field.
All right, Mac, we're going to let you enjoy some ice cream here, though hopefully it's not so much that you're getting a few extra gassers at training camp in a couple weeks here. Thanks a lot, man.
There we go, yeah. All right, thanks, Phil. See ya.
All right. Thanks very much, Mac Jones, for hanging out with us there for a few minutes. Couple things that I found interesting from that conversation. Number one, he said he felt like he's made significant strides in terms of his physical development, this offseason. And it became clear, if you listened to our conversation during Super Bowl week, that was something that was on his mind. He's fresh off the Pro Bowl there. He was fresh off talking to Randy Moss and Booger McFarland and Steve Levy, I want to say, at the Pro Bowl, and saying, hey, I need to lay off the ice cream. I got to fix my diet. And he got after it this summer. And he was pretty clearly seeing the benefits of that during the spring. I mean, he had lost body fat. He's very open with us about that at the time. And he did reference a few weeks ago that he might bulk up before the season because he wants to be able to take the punishment that comes along with being a starting quarterback in the NFL. But if he's made, in his mind, significant strides physically, I would say that would have to show up at some point. I don't know when, but I think it would show up some point noticeably, meaning whether it's late in the season where his strength, I think overall, and his stamina, both mentally and physically, waned. I think it's safe to say, based on how we saw him play the last month of the season, and totally understandable, by the way, given the lengthy season he had leading up to that, lengthy off season he had leading up to that, all the stuff that happens, it goes into the pre-draft process. He's coming off a long season with Alabama. Then he's got the Senior Bowl. He's got the Combine. We've been over that. So what he did this offseason may help him in December and January. It may help him in terms of his arm strength. And that's something that maybe we will see show up on tape as well. Maybe the kinds of throws that we saw, for instance, that interception in Buffalo during the playoff game, maybe there is a little extra juice on that. And maybe it's hard to tell with the naked eye, but if you compare one season to the other, maybe we'll go back and we'll look at some throws from 2022 and say, I'm not sure he would have been able to make that throw in 2021. Now, at the same time, I don't want to say that he's going to be a totally different player physically from one season to the next. I think it's hard to do that. And I think any changes that he makes will be changes that are slow developing, and they continue to change and they continue to take hold as he develops and progresses through his career. But he's been working with Tom House. It seems like, based on their social media interactions, our friend Tom House is very pleased with some of the stuff that he was able to see from Mac Jones. So that's number one. If he feels like he's made significant strides physically, that to me is something that we should be able to see on game days in 2022. So that's number one. Number two is him being pretty open about the fact that he wants to lead. He wants to rally this unit. I think he did a lot of that already as a rookie, but he's in such a different spot this year at this time compared to last year, as I mentioned in our conversation there. And for him to take on that leadership role and to take ownership of the Patriots offense in the way that I think he will is going to be a necessity for this Patriots offense to have success in 2022. And the reason I say that is because of the obvious, the elephant in the room, what the Patriots are dealing with on their coaching staff. If Mac Jones doesn't take ownership of this thing, and he doesn't have a lot of say, both in terms of the plays that get called on game day, but the decisions that get made at the line of scrimmage. And again, these are things that he was able to do last year, but I think we'll see even more of that because of the fact that he's dealing with the people he's dealing with on the offensive side of the ball, and Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. And we know about their relative inexperience offensively. So for him to say he wants to lead and he's ready to take on that role, that's obviously a positive thing, but I think it goes beyond just in the huddle with the 10 other guys that he will be playing offense with this year. I think that goes for what's going to go on the sidelines in games. I think that goes for what's going to go on behind the scenes in the quarterback meeting rooms, in the offensive meeting rooms. This is somebody who is really bright. And the more people you talk to, the more people are willing to tell you just how smart he is. I've spoken to people this offseason and said, hey, if he wanted to retire right now and get into coaching, he could be an offensive coordinator right now. And if you're the Patriots, that has to be music to your ears because you don't have an offensive coordinator right now that we know of. You certainly don't have one with a lot of play calling experience, if any. And so to hear, yes, he is that smart, even from coaches that will still rave about him today, if you were to talk to them based on their pre-draft interaction with Mac Jones, because they were in a position where they might be looking for a quarterback in that 2021 draft. And because they wanted to get to know Mac Jones really well, people continuously lauding him for his brain power. The Patriots are going to need it. It's not necessarily a fair position to put your second-year quarterback in where there's going to be so much on his shoulders, but I think there's going to be a lot on his shoulders. And so for him to be willing to take on ownership of this offense, to be willing to lead the way that clearly he is. I mean, the guy has traveled the country just to work out with his receivers, whether it's down in Florida. He's been in Texas. He's worked with performance coaches in San Diego. I believe he stopped over in St. Louis briefly. So he has been working on all facets of his game, physically, mentally, the chemistry factor with his teammates throughout this offseason. He's had a little mini offseason journey of his own because he understood just how important this time was for him to be able to improve, to get his game to the point where he wants it to be going into year two. And I think those are all things that are positive if you're a Patriots fan, and you should be excited about those. And you should be excited about the fact that he wants ownership of this offense. Because again, if he didn't, and if he didn't have the kind of say that it looks like he'll have, if he didn't have the freedom that we think he'll have at the line of scrimmage to be able to move things around and call what he likes, then I think this team would be in trouble. And I really think they would be in trouble if they had almost any other young quarterback, because it's a really difficult situation to be in. They just happen to have a young quarterback who's really bright and could help smooth over any rough edges that this team would experience because of what they have going on the coaching staff. That's just my take. And those were two little nuggets that I found to be interesting that I was thinking about coming away from our conversation. If you had others, let us know. Leave a comment, leave a review, rate, subscribe, tell your friends. We're going to take another little breather from the podcast, but we'll get back at you guys as planned just before training camp. We'll send us off together into training camp with a little bit of a preview. Maybe we'll do a mailbag as well before that first training camp practice. And then we're on the wheel. We're off and running, and we'll have all kinds of Next Pats content for you. But thanks for listening to this mini pod, this micro pod, and we'll talk to you very soon.